talking about how to write a perfect chicken soup story. And right now, I'm compiling a title called Chicken Soup for the Indian Entrepreneur's Soul. So I want stories for that. And also, when I'm talking about chicken soup story, you can think of stories of other categories and you can keep sending them because we keep putting titles together. I don't know how many of you know about chicken soup for the soul, okay? You'll know about it. But before I start on chicken soup, I want to share this one little story which I always start for all my talks. Some of you may have heard it. It's about believing in yourself. So this is when I had this, my second kid who was about 9 or 10 years old, and I was doing everything possible for her and I was not getting the results that I thought I should. You know, I was borrowing energy from every field, from that of wife, from that of friend, from that of Raksha, and I was investing it all into my child, but it was not working. So I was very depressed, and this man I know, Mr. Doshi, he took me for a walk one day, early in the morning. He was then 77, and he's won the Padma Shri for architecture. It was early morning in Ahmedabad, 5:30, and we went for a walk, and he took me under this tree. And he said, look up. And I looked up. And he said, what do you see? So that was about October, November. So the tree only had branches. There were no leaves. There was just no sign of life. So I was like, so he said, what? The story of the tree, what does it look to you? I said, it's like over. He said, pretty much like you think your life is right now, right? I said, yeah, I mean, it just looks so dead. I don't know what else to do. So he said, never mind, and we started talking about other stuff. And then we got home, and I was like, wow, this is what he's supposed to kind of help me with. And then we went for a walk every 15, 20 days. And then came spring, you know, Feb, March. And he again took me for a walk, and we went under the same tree. I didn't realize. And he said, look up. And I looked up. And he said, what do you see? And the tree was full. It was full of leaves. It had flowers. There was a little nest also there. And he told me, he said, what you saw back then and what you are seeing now is that same tree. We all are like that tree. What we need to be that full, we are born with it. Now, all of us are not born to be a Sachin Tendulkar or M.F. Hussain, but we are all born to reach our sky. I mean, we all have our skies. So for us, the important thing is to reach our sky. And then he told me something which I've always thought of as the most important lesson of my life. He said, what you saw back then was a frame. Like this today is also a frame. But very often when we are down, when we are in doubt of ourselves, when we face a big block, when we face a failure, it's a frame, but we think it's the whole picture. So he says, at any point in your life, you always treat that day as a frame. And the picture is what you will see every day of your life. So when this is something that has helped me the most in tackling with chicken soup titles and tackling with my own incompetencies or with my own self-doubts is to see my life in a frame. So that is something I've written and I wanted to share from Believing in Yourself.
I have a question. There is a fundamental conflict in the example that you have given.
Okay.
In the tree that you have said, we know it will happen.
Sorry?
In the tree example that you have taken,
Yeah.
it was a barren frame, but we know it will happen in spring.
Okay.
Whereas about us, we don't know whether it will happen.
Yeah. Okay. So let me...
So if you want to extract an example out of that, something that is natural, I don't think tree had to work very hard to get that leaf out.
Okay.
And when we work too hard and we don't get that leaf, are you having the same example? Are you giving the right example?
Let me talk about that. Okay. Now, every little plant that is there has its own strength in terms of root, in terms of what sunlight it's getting, in terms of how much it can extract, right? Everything in the end is what you are made of and what you have the potential for. Like no two trees can be same, isn't it? So it's the same is about us. We also are born with a certain potential, but very often, let me give you another example of Salim Javed, Salim Sahab, when I met him a long time back. This is regarding what we should do in life and what we should not, or how do we know that this is it, that this is me, this is my calling? I don't know if that is one of your questions, whether this is my calling and whether I'm being... So Salim Sahab, when I went and I interviewed him some 7-8 years back, he told me a very, very interesting story. He said that when I started, he first started as an actor. So he came to Bombay and he tried out in some 150 movies. And he said, I realized that I was bad in most of them than good, okay? After that, he tried his hand at aeronautics. So he said, every time when I picked up aeronautics, I put in my life and my soul. And when I put in that, for some time, I was growing. And then a plateau came. Okay, since we have a shortage of time, I'm kind of, generalizing it. Okay, you can go into details of whatever. So he said, I put in my heart and soul, and I reached a plateau. And after a point, I realized I was not growing. And after a point, I lost interest. There is a point also when you lose interest and you get it back. He said, I waited for aeronautics and that. It did not happen. So he moved to being a cricketer. That's what Salim Sahab did. So he played cricket at whatever different levels. And he said, there also, I went through the same trajectory. There was this new learning, this new splurge, this new enthusiasm, and then I did well, and then I reached a plateau, and then I started going down, and the interest did not revival, blah, 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 blah. He said, and then he did 1 or 2 more things, and then he came to script writing. And he said, I sat and I wrote scripts. He said, there are 2 things which, in the course of 1.5 to 2 years, I realized that this is it. He said, one is, though my interest dropped once in a while, but I never stopped making progress. Maybe for a week I did not write. Maybe for 2 days I wrote well. Maybe for 10 days I wrote not that great. But he said, when I look back, I always thought that I made progress at whatever level. And for me, that was it. For me, when I realized over course of time, so he could have given up without really being there. So when we talk about not getting rewards, I think it's very, very subjective. And it's also about whether you're looking at what is not 100% right. When I did my first book, I finished it in first 6-7 months, and I sent it to all the publishers. And I thought I had done a brilliant job, but I got a reject from all. And my husband said, okay, let's get it published. I'll publish it for you. But I knew that's not what I wanted. And so I went through the blame game, okay? So I went through the publishers that, they don't know what it is, and they cannot recognize a good book, or because I'm not a known name, they will not publish me, blah, blah. So you do the blame thing, then you are angry at yourself, then you're angry at the world, and then you are depressed and you're frustrated. Once I went through all of that, I went to 3 editors, good editors. One is from Calcutta, Mr. Mukherjee of Radiant Publishing House. He was 77 then. And I asked him, I said, there is something which is not right. And he gave me a whole list. And I went back and I worked. So I'm not saying because I went back and I worked and I got it straight, I got published. But very often, we need to keep at it. And probably, maybe, we need to find out ways, because there is an obvious pattern of success. I think success follows more or less some pattern, where, when you move, you face blocks, and you try different routes, or you introspect, you work on them, trial, error, you learn, you stretch. So these are the things which people do, which is actually there. So I feel when we talk about not getting rewards or getting rewards or about the tree, I think it's all about what you are within and what you do every day. So I guess. So anyway, let me go on with my chicken soup I don't know, do you want me to talk about the chicken soup story, right? Do you want to identify chicken soup story and write one? Okay, great. So today, this talk that I'm having is about how to identify a chicken soup story from your life and write it. Now, first of all, what is a chicken soup story? A chicken soup story is a real story from your life. It could be about you, or it could be about somebody you know, or it could be about somebody you've heard and who's moved you. It could also be about something you saw or some flash you got, all right? So chicken soup stories are essentially stories of personal challenges. It's a story of how you stretch yourself. It's a story of when you see somebody who stretches yourself. So I'll just go quickly over the basic details. So this story or a poem could be anything between 300 words to 1,200 words, but it is a true life story. It's not fiction. You can't imagine and write, oh, this happened. So it has to be a true tale. It does not necessarily need to have a successful ending. A chicken soup story is a story about learning. So I want, before I begin on, I'll read a story to you. and I'll make you identify. But before that, I want to tell you that why Chicken Soup Souls. We have the whole bookshop full of so many books dealing with so many different be kind, be patient, be persistent. So what's so great about a chicken soup story? So, I think all of us are living in a very stressful world where we are always pushed, we always have to perform, we cannot let go. And personally, I have gone through the phases where I have had self-doubts, where I have had felt that I will not be able to pass this block, or I feel that this is it, I cannot do anymore, or I get into this pessimistic zone where I think the world is terrible. I think we all go through those phases where we either doubt ourselves, our capabilities, or we have a lot of antagonism and anger against the world. I think what Chicken Soup Stories do, at least what they did to me as an editor when I was putting together, I've done 13 titles already, and I'm doing my 14th one. So we have 101 stories per book, and for every one book that I put together, I read at least 1,000 stories. So for these 15,000 stories that I've gone through, there are 2-3 things which I really learned and I understood. The first thing is that all of us go through difficult patches, and all of us go through these patches of feeling low. And the way Chicken Soup helps is when you see somebody else who's gone through a situation, first of all, you don't feel that you're alone, okay? You don't feel you're alone in that situation. So it really helped me, I could identify. And the second thing which I felt about Chicken Soup is, when somebody tells me that, okay, don't give up, be persistent, these are words to me. But when I read a story of this child who drank acid and who burnt her entire esophagus, and how the parents did not give up on that child, or how the child did not give up on herself. And in this particular story, the parent comes and tells me, this is what happened, like why a chicken soup story is so important. So this particular story, this child she hated math and she loved gymnastics. And the father used her love of gymnastics as a trump card for her to make, for her to study math. So this girl was in the 8th grade when the dad said, look, if you do not get more than 85% in math in this term, I'm going to stop your gymnastic. This little 8th grader goes to school, does not do her paper well, comes back and is very scared that her dad is going to stop her gymnastic, which she loves, and she drinks acid just to scare her dad. This is what she told me herself. I mean, she wrote it for me, and I met the dad and the mom while doing the chicken soup story. And then she was brought to the hospital with over 90% burns. She had 1 millimeter space for the liquid to go, and they had to inject the tube and put in fluid through her. She was in and out of hospital for a year and a half. When I met her, it was in her 2nd year. So then the dad tells me, I want you to tell the world that you love your child, you want the best for your child, but do not use the child's love for something that you want. And you may not be serious that you will make the child stop gymnastics, but the child is very serious. He thinks you're going to make him do it. So please be careful. And then he told me another thing. He said, what we did, what she did, but both of us are going to fight and both of us are going to get over it. So this is what a chicken soup story does. It tells you where somebody has gone wrong. It tells you about this fight of hope and this, this crazy little thing called I will not give up, which I think in the end, as I mentioned, that we all are not born to be Sania Mirza. But I have my own potential. If I reach my potential, I'm happy doing it, it's good enough. So, so let me now begin with the chicken soup for the Indian entrepreneur's soul. So now I want each one of you, I don't know, you have a paper and pen, whoever wants to. So I want you, so what is in, all of you know what is, right now I'm compiling Chicken Soup for the Indian Entrepreneur's Soul. At every point I compile some or the other title. I can give you my email ID. You can keep checking with me every 1.5 to 2 months, the kind of title I'm doing, and you can keep sending stories. So right now we are doing Chicken Soup for the Indian Entrepreneur's Soul, which is about being an entrepreneur. Okay, it could be a corporate person, it could be about a small firm, it could be about a big firm, it could be about your child being an entrepreneur in his own way. I'm going to read. So, so it's a story of entrepreneurship. When you've become a leader, you've taken risk, you've taken chances, and you are doing something on your own. That's the title I'm working on now. So what are the kind of themes we have? Okay, let me give you the themes of Entrepreneur's Soul. So what are the themes I'm looking at? If you know of anybody, or if you think about yourself, of a situation when you've thought out of the box. For instance, I don't know, Kumar, are you here? No. But I think this non-fiction festival is an out-of-box thinking. In India, we have Lit Fest all over the country. Jaipur Lit Fest, I've been going every year. It's brilliant. But to do a non-fiction festival is something different. I think it's going to catch the eye. I think it'll become a brand in some years. Okay? So when you've thought of the, you've thought out of the box. When you have faith in your dreams. I don't know if you know about Sriram Lagu, how he was a doctor and how he became an actor when he was in South Africa. So it's about doing something, being passionate about something completely different, and when you find the courage and you have that much savings that you can give your dream a chance. So it's about having a dream, believing in it, and maybe at some point in your life taking a risk. It's about having courage. And entrepreneur, for me, any story of courage in the entrepreneurship world would be interesting. It's about learning. So even if you are not an entrepreneur yourself, if you've learned from some entrepreneur, if you've seen some entrepreneurial vulture, I would like to know about it. Any story of learning. An entrepreneur is also a leader. So how you've kept the team together, what you've done. Life lessons, overcoming adversities, and there are other things. So let me read a story which came to me. So any story if you write for Chicken Soup, first of all, you have to identify some challenge or some block or some problem, okay? So let's say you have a problem that, analyze stuff. Or let's say that you have an issue with your anger. However much you may think, I mean, this is not for Entrepreneur Soul, but I'm just giving you a general example, that you know that in this situation, you react like this and you do not want to react like that. So you have a problem. So a Chicken Soup story always begins with a problem or an issue or something that you have to sort out. Okay, something that is a problem to you. So first of all, you have to identify a problem. Then that's the first para of any Chicken Soup story, when you introduce what the issue is, okay? The second para of a Chicken Soup story, or the middle of the Chicken Soup story, is always about, not the middle actually, before the middle, it's about what are the issues you're having because of that problem. So let's say if you're talking about being angry, so what are the issues, what is it that's hurting me most? That my kids are scared of me, or I'm not being able to, work as much in my workplace or whatever. So then you have to say that what are the issues that you're facing, okay? The next is, what are the things you've tried? Let's say in this particular story of anger, even if you can identify that this is what triggers, and if I can just sit for 10 seconds and not react at that point, it helps me bring my anger down maybe by 10%. If whatever little success you've had, however little, okay, but it's a progress, you can write about that, what's helped you. So a Chicken Soup story will always have a beginning, where the problem is, or the block is, or the challenge is. It'll have a middle, how it has affected you and what you've done, and then it'll be about how you've learned. So in the learning bit, it could be that you've thought about it yourself and you found out, or it could be that you saw somebody how to handle it and you did it, okay? So let me right now read a story about this lady who was not an entrepreneur. She was an employee, and how she had the dream and she turned into an entrepreneur. Moving to a new city is always difficult, even more so when you know no one there. After I got married, I moved to Ahmedabad, a town that was alien to me and that I had no strong ties to. My in-laws were modern and supportive, and my husband was a true believer in equality. For me, that sealed the deal, for I knew that I wasn't the kind of person who would stay home and just be a happy homemaker. I wanted to work, I wanted a career, and I believed I could find time and space for it all. Luckily, within 2 months of moving, I caught a break and got a job drafting reports. And what made this even more memorable was that I found out I was pregnant with my first child. I remember everyone telling me I couldn't work while being pregnant, as this was my first, and that I wouldn't be able to move around much longer, and I'd have to deal with morning sickness. But I continued work till my very last month of pregnancy, and my husband dropping and picking me up. The 20-minute drive home together made up for all the tiredness of the pregnancy and the job. I took maternity leave, and in less than 5 months, when I was ready to resume work, I lost my father-in-law. It became impossible for me to carry on. My mother-in-law also took to bed then. After a few months, she started feeling better, and it was then that a friend of mine introduced me to a center where they trained people for foreign examinations like TOEFL and SAT. I started working part-time. I could manage only a 4-hour shift, but I was bringing home money, and my students adored me. That was enough. But once again, I had to stop working because my daughter had gotten to that age where she needed more attention and care than I was able to provide with juggling work and family obligations. Not willing to completely give up work or even raising my daughter the best I could, I started teaching from home with my total strength of one student. That one student told another, and another told another. By the end of the first year, I had 30 to 40 students coming to me at my residence. My building administration started complaining, and I began my search for an office space. By then, my mother-in-law too had recovered, and the money that I was adding to the family kitty meant better classes and good extracurricular for my kids. One day, I saw a big crowd outside the local supermarket, where I usually pick my groceries from. One last office space was on for sale in that building, and the builder had announced that he would sign it on by the end of the week to the best bidder. I found the location and the area perfect for my requirement. Besides, it was a new construction and was built along the earthquake-approved rules. This is the time when Ahmedabad had just gotten through the earthquake. I called my husband, and our lunch hour was spent in discussing the final amount with the builder. We had to buy it outright. Rent was not an option with that property. It meant taking a loan at the rate of 14% per annum and signing off my personal guarantee for it. I came home, my mind fraught with doubts. I had been an employee most of my life. Taking that big a financial risk was not what I had ever done. My students started filling in. I told them I may have to stop the classes till I found a viable option in terms of space, as the building had given me a notice. It was then that 6 of my students said that they would rather postpone taking their exam than train under someone else. For me, that made up my mind. 6 students. I went to the bank the next morning, began the formalities for the loan, and signed the deed for the office space by the end of that month. I'm proud to say that I paid off the 7-year loan in 4, and I'm currently running a thriving business. I still wonder whether it was me or those 6 students that made me take the leap from an employee to an entrepreneur. I still wonder. But one thing is certain, they believed in me more than I did in myself. So this is one of the chicken soup stories.
Yeah. What is the struggle in this entrepreneur?
The struggle is from an employee, from a person.
There's no struggle in this.
There is a struggle. See, chicken soup stories are. What do you think happened when she was doing her classes for 7 years? For a person, a struggle is when you've never taken a loan. When you sign off and take a loan at 14% per annum, and you're working 10 hours a day, 8 hours a day.
Talking of the husband. Husband might be doing well.
In this story, the loan was paid off by the woman in her work. The husband was also, both of them had a working salary. Both of them were running the house with a salary. So a salary for a salaried person to buy a premise, an office premise, is being an entrepreneur. And we are talking about...
It's not a story for a national struggle. It might be a good for...
I'm sorry, if you're talking about a struggle, I don't think there is a subjective line of what is a bad or a good struggle. So, no, let me tell you. What a chicken soup story here is, what is it that I'm trying to say? Here, it is a personal account of this woman for whom making the jump from being an employee to an entrepreneur, and the moment that helped her decide. When out of those 40 students she had, 6 of them expressed their faith in herself. She wanted to take the jump. So it is about that moment which made her pick something. A chicken soup story is about that because it was there in her mind. There was a doubt. And that is what helped her understand. That is what helped her take that leap and that action. And that's the chicken soup story in this. So a chicken soup story does not have to be about going and climbing the Mount Everest or, being a reliance. It could be about a little challenge that you overcome with yourself. It can be very, very small, but it has to be a challenge. And if it is told with emotions, which I felt there was in this story, it's enough. So any chicken soup story is a story of a personal triumph, but it may be of importance to the person and if it conveys. So maybe if somebody reads this chicken soup story, maybe a person would be encouraged to think and work. So I think I have to start making you kind of identify. So I want you to now, so in your workspace, I want you to think one time in your life when you doubted your capability, or one difficult client, or one difficult project, okay? I want you to think about it, that what was the time when you felt that, oh my God, am I in this? Will I be able to do it? Can you think of it? Or any failure? Think about it. I'll give you a minute. Or you could even think about when you wanted to start something out of scratch, out of nothing, when there was no family history. Introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, I'm Suman Agarwal here, and I run a clinic named Self Care since last 12 years. So my background is that I'm a Marwadi, and I've not had sufficient studies. Like I just did BA, Bachelor of Arts, but I always wanted to study more. But how Calcutta, you know, my father said you have to get married, you finish your graduation. So he got me married, and then I had 3 kids, one by one. Till I was 30, I had 3 girls, but I still wanted to work. I didn't know what to do. I tried my hands at share market, made some money and lost a lot. Then I tried calling for bed sheets from Calcutta. And then I had a pile of them at home. Then I tried selling salwar suits from Bombay, learning yoga. I said, okay, I'll start making yoga mats. And I made like, say, 100 of them, and they're still piling up. Then I thought, what shall I do? And on top of that, though I felt I'm very healthy and good. And I read all the health books and all the health articles from the newspaper. And I was following the very healthy diet of Don't Diet Diet cookbook. So no, sorry, not that. Fit for Life.
Fit for Life, yeah.
And I gave up milk at home. And I made everyone give up milk at home. And everyone was healthy except the whole family. I mean, the servants were healthy because they were having milk. So I thought, okay, let me start doing some aerobic classes. So I went to some institute and I learned aerobics. And I said to my husband, listen, I'm going to become an aerobic instructor. He looked at me. Then I decided, okay, now I met a girl and he had done a nutrition course. So I said, okay, I'll go and do a nutrition course. It was a 1-year course. I enrolled myself. Though my husband was tired of my stuff.
Yeah,
and
different forays, yeah.
I said, what are you going to do? Now you're coming to the office, just sit in the office and do whatever I tell you. And my father said, जाके क्या करेगी? खुद खाली ये जो husband को का काम संभालो. I said, okay. My husband told me, you do whatever course you want to do, but the whole share files of the family, you only have to handle. And I had 3 kids, so I used to come, work in the office for 2 hours, go to my college, study for 3-4 hours, go
nutrition.
Back home.
You studied nutrition.
Yes, I studied nutrition. And I went back, I used to go back home and teach my kids. That was my routine for a whole year. Then I said, I want to start working. Then my husband said, do it from home. I said, no, that's not professional. Please give me a space in your office. He said, okay. I have 70 square feet, chota sa room, use that. I said, okay, I'll do it from that. I started consulting, but by God's grace, and everyone just started following my diet. And they loved it, they lost weight, they felt healthier. Then my husband's office was very small. Then I said, okay, there is some office lying downstairs, give it to me. He said, okay, I'll give you 200 square feet. Then he gave me 200 more.
No, but I want to ask you one question. So of all the things, why do you think nutrition? Why do you think that was it?
I think it was, again, because of my dad. Because he always used to say, subah, if you have fallen sick, it is something you've eaten wrong. If you are healthy, because you're doing something right. So my dream was to be healthy all the time.
By eating right.
Yeah, eating right. So it just worked because that was my passion. I found my passion after trying so many things. So at the age of 32, I started a career, and now I have clients from all over the world, more than 9,000.
That's great. Congratulations. But what I would love this
and
little story.
And I have 2 books.
That's fantastic. I would like to get this story, but I also want one para on one case or one client that you found to be very difficult and you cracked it. Whether by research, whether by understanding.
We have it every day.
Yeah.
I'm cracking, I see more than 70 people every day, and I almost crack 1 case every day.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So this could be a very nice chicken soup story. If I get one, with everything that she said, it's about being an entrepreneur because she's tried so many things. Then she started her own space and she started consulting. And so what I need with this is, if I have to speak in the chicken soup story format, I need any one case of, let's say, Savita, who came to you with this issue, and maybe you read something, and now, how many people do you have? Have you employed people also in your work?
Yeah, I have almost more than 25 staff and 13 nutritionists working with me.
Great. So that will be the entrepreneur angle again. That she herself now employs 13, 15 nutritionists. So this is like a chicken soup story. So what I want you to do is identify one challenge. So it could be about a dream. Chicken soup story could be about a dream. So it could be about trying different things and finding your calling. It could be about taking that risk. It could be about thinking out of the box. It could be about learning from somebody. So anyone wants to share any challenge, any block that they faced?
I'm Ajinkya Kiran Shoitkar and I'm here from Pune. Basically from Nagpur. I started my own like training institute like a couple of years back.
Okay.
I started my career as a part-time trainer as low as like 2,500 per month salary. But then students like me, they liked the way I taught, and I was good in one subject, that was Oracle, and I spoke to the management of the training institute that can we start something like in the same space. They completely denied, said they won't do that. So I quit the training institute.
Did you have the finance to think about it at that point?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought I should just take the leap. And fortunately, I had good contacts in my native city. So I as soon as I quit, so students got to know. So even they quit the institute and they joined me because I wanted to teach them Oracle and they wanted to learn from me.
Oh, so the students that you were teaching.
Yeah. So they again joined me because I got some space then. So that I ran an institute for like 6 months. So that was a very big challenge because I didn't know what needs to be done. But I think like something kept on guiding me for the long time. And now I'm working in an IT company because I just want to gain more domain knowledge. Yeah, exactly. So I have quit recently, and I'm planning to travel for the next 3-4 months, and then I think.
Okay, so if you want to write this and make it work as a chicken soup story, you told me that you quit, being a trainee and you wanted to start your own center.
Right.
So I want you to write that why exactly did you want to do it? Was it because of more money or you thought you would do a better job? And you also said another thing, that for 6 months you continued and you had faced a lot of challenges.
Right.
Now, what a chicken soup story is not when you just write that I had many challenges. No.
Right.
If you can even talk about one challenge that you faced, okay, with yourself or with your students or with finance or with the office space or with the residents, or if you talk about one challenge and how you overcame it, the story is complete.
Okay.
So what I need in a chicken soup story to work for me is one incident, one anecdote, one problem, one person's name, or something to do with yourself, that talks about the problem.
Can I share it?
Yeah, sure, please.
Okay.
You want to talk about a challenge?
Yeah,
sure.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
So there was this one student of mine. He was actually from a Marathi medium school, and I used to teach more of an like technical background in English. So he never really understood. So after always the class, I used to sit with him and ask him if he had like some issues in learning. So I think that happened at least for I think couple of months, and actually he didn't have a job. That's why he thought that this course would really help. And after that, he really grasped a lot about the whole subject, and then he started applying to companies, small companies, and finally he has a job now, and he's supporting his family through the job.
Fantastic.
So I mean, I think that.
Yeah. So listen, that's the story. So tell me, why did you stay with him after your job hours were done or whatever hours that he had paid for? What made you stick to him?
Because I couldn't stand that he cannot really get it. I mean, I thought so simple, you can always get it. It's just maybe some small education is not going to be a barrier because of the
Okay,
Marathi.
great.
Yeah.
So this makes for a perfect, because as an entrepreneur, so you from being an employee, you went to being an entrepreneur and you helped somebody else get a job somewhere.
Right.
So if you put in this and you email it to me, I will kind of.
Okay.
Yeah?
Wow.
So when you, that was good. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, so you're getting the drift, right, of this. Now, you don't have to be a fantastic writer to write a good chicken soup story. My job is to edit, to clean. I can even go back and forth with you. I can tell you that, listen, this is what I need here. I can talk to you on phone. But what I need is for you to identify one problem and what issues you had with it and how you overcame it. That is what I need for this. So if any of you want to write, you can send me a mail at rakshabharade@gmail.com. I have a detailed brief. What are the word counts? What are my themes? And I can email that to you. I can even email you a story or two as a sample story. And then if you want, you can even discuss your story with me over phone. And I can tell you that this is right, this is wrong, or this is what you need to do. And please feel free to spread the mail and the message to others. For every published chicken soup story, we will put the writer's name. It will be under the writer. And a chicken soup story also can be about somebody else. It could be about somebody whom you saw in an entrepreneurial position as a leader, taking risks, facing challenges, putting the team together. That also could be and how it changed you. So when you're writing about somebody, you have to always link it to yourself. So this is what, how it changed you. How did that person or that event or that thing changed you? So,
just one clarification. The main theme that you Chicken Soup series is basically about, how you overcome an obstacle.
It's about either stretching yourself.
Taking that as a theme, it could be beyond entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Right now, I'm putting together the entrepreneur soul, but I have done 13 titles. So I've done Chicken Soup for the Indian lover's soul. We've done Chicken Soup for the Indian teenage soul, Indian doctor's soul, Indian golden soul. We've done one for the senior citizens. We've done Chicken Soup for the Indian mother's soul, father's soul. I have done Chicken Soup for the Indian armed forces. And then there is a general title called Chicken Soup for the Indian soul, which is any story of learning, any story of wisdom, any story of gain, any story of understanding. Chicken Soup is about understanding. It's about how you accept and then move on. But every Chicken Soup story is a story of progress. It's a story of how you understood a little more, how you stretched a little more, how you were kind, how you were a little more generous than you normally are. So it's about that little more. And if you can tell it, what happened, if you can write the experience, it's a Chicken Soup story. Yeah?
So not necessarily about success.
No, it is not about success. But it is about your learning. A Chicken Soup story is about learning. Okay, but it has to be, it has to be written. So it doesn't have to be written in a beautiful language. But your emotions, what you felt, has to come out. So thank you so much. You have my email ID, or you can go to my website, rakshabharadia.in, and you can get all the details, or you can write to me at rakshabharadia@gmail.com. I check my mail every day, and I will. And I'm 40 stories short for Chicken Soup. So please send me. And for other titles, you can keep checking with me every 2 months. Thank you so much.